Hello.
Hi, Trevor?
Yeah.
Hello. Cell phone charger back there if you need one.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I live right around the corner from here, so this is an easy pickup for me.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm actually just visiting, so
Ah.
heading back to the airport.
Ah, I see. Oh, so you're visiting Chicago?
Yeah.
Where are you visiting from?
Boston.
Boston. Cool. I won't try and butcher the accent for you. I'm sure a lot of people do when they find out where you're from, right?
Yeah, I'm not from there originally, so I don't have an accent.
Ah. Where are you from originally?
LA.
Oh,
Yeah.
this phone number is a 323 phone number, and I will never give it up. I'm born and raised in California.
Nice.
Yeah. So what brought you to Boston?
School.
School?
Yeah.
Going to, what do they have out there? MIT and...
Harvard. I went to Northeastern University.
Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, Northeastern. I like as well. Nice. Okay. What are you studying? Or did you study?
Computer science.
Ah.
Graduated a
Okay.
couple years ago.
Nice.
Stayed out there for work.
Okay. Yeah, they've got a lot of tech geeks. I'm a cloud infrastructure engineer, so like I'm
Cool.
always hearing from Boston companies. Like they've got Boston Dynamics out there, of course, and then a few other big companies that are always like trying to get me to do cloud stuff. So that's
Nice,
cool.
nice.
So you a developer?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the game industry.
Oh,
so
very
I ended
cool.
up going to video games.
Nice. So what part of the game industry are you, like actual design of the platform?
Software
or
engineering.
Software
Yeah.
engineering. Okay. Very cool. I'm assuming you probably can't tell me any of the games that you are currently working on or have worked on, right?
I can tell you what I have worked on. I worked a bit on Rocket League.
Oh, dude, my cousin loves that one. My nephew,
Nice.
that's right, nephew loves that one. Yeah.
So I don't work at Epic, who's the developer on that, but I work at a company in Boston. We do contracting work, performance optimization, and
Mhm.
platform porting, that kind of stuff.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, Rocket League. I worked a little bit on Legends of Runeterra, which
Okay.
is a Riot card game. And then I'm working on something right now that I can't talk about.
Sure. That's cool. So are you an avid gamer yourself and you wanted to stick in that, or did it just work out that way?
Yeah, I'm pretty into video games. I actually didn't know whether I was gonna go with it and stick with it or not.
Sure.
I got out of school and I was kind of like, well, I'm into it, and it kind of was like part of my interest in programming in the first place.
Sure.
So I was like, I'll give it a shot, see how I like it.
Mhm.
It's been a couple years so far, and I'm enjoying the company I work for.
Nice.
So I'll definitely stick with it for the future. But I always figured I did computer science. It's pretty broadly applicable. So if I ever decide it's not working for some reason,
Right.
I'll try something else.
Yeah. I guess that was a question I was going to ask, which is like, what you have to do computer science wise to learn computer science and major in it, is that the same type of programming if you're working in the video game space? It's just essentially for a different platform, or?
Depends. I mean, so I would say I'm kind of in a niche right now in the sense that I do a lot of sort of low level like engine code. So it's a lot of like C++. And I think that that's something that like other places need, but it's usually like you're talking about like sort of application layer or like firmware layer. I don't do a whole lot of like full stack web dev, let's say.
Mhm.
I've done some like back end work, but I think that like that kind of stuff would largely be new-ish to me. But I feel like I could transfer pretty easily to like if I need to like a back end or like an application or something like that.
Sure. You could figure it out or learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my understanding is for developers, programmers, people who work software engineers, all, coworkers essentially, they all say that 90% of everything you learn for the computer science degree you don't need at all. Would you say that goes the same for computer or for video games, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would push back. Like, I don't like. I think everyone has their own take on it, right? And like, I'm not saying that they're necessarily wrong, but
Sure.
from my perspective, or at least in my experience, like the stuff that I learned in school, I think like I don't use it directly, but like I
Mhm.
think it helped provide a foundation for like how I go about solving problems and
Definitely.
like how I go about structuring programs and thinking about code.
Mm-hmm.
And like without it, I feel like I would be less effective.
Sure.
So like I don't think it was all throwaway.
Okay.
But I do think that like I agree in the sense that I think 90% of the stuff that like the 90% of the stuff that like really matters on the job isn't the kind of stuff even that you do in like an interview. Honestly, at this point, like
Sure.
software interviews are kind of funky.
Yeah.
I think we're still trying to figure out like what's the best way to actually interview somebody.
Sure.
It's
that's
such a
good
new
point.
field.
Yeah. Yeah, other than
yeah.
a code test to say, what does your code look like? What stuff have
Yeah.
you developed? What can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're in cloud infrastructure. So
Yep.
like,
Yeah,
I
server
guess-
systems engineering.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What did you go to school for?
So I am a high school dropout, and I never went to college. So yeah, I just taught myself IT.
Yeah, self-made.
Yeah, that was really
That's
it.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so I enjoy it, and it's not like I'm like anti-college, but now I'm just like I don't know what I would do with it. And if I had tried to go to college for anything, I for sure would have been a failure. I was an awful student, awful student. So it just wouldn't have worked out well at all. So I definitely went an alternate route, but it worked, and only because IT, like you said, it's such a new field that most people that hire you don't know what you're talking about until after they hire you.
How long have you been doing that for?
Oh gosh, about 14 years now.
Nice.
Yeah, 14 years. So that's
So now you know what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah, now I do. Like now it often surprises me when people are like, okay, like say a server can't get to the internet, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, well, there's like 8 different reasons why. Here's the different things. Here's what I would check. Here's the order I would check it in. And then they go, yeah. And I'm like, oh, wow. I didn't know I knew that. Okay, cool. Like it's always a constant realization that I do know more than I think I do. Yeah. What do you think you'd be doing if you weren't working in the tech field?
Oh goodness. I did like writing and like English when I was growing up, so maybe that. That's I kind of looked at that and went like, yeah, but that's also not really a career. Ironically, I ended up in a creative field anyways, but I'm on the sort of technical side of it. So
right. You have to have that meticulousness for development. You have to be able to look at your code and go, here's the errors, here's the editing, here's what's wrong with it.
What I do like about software is it feels to me like I like math, but I wasn't always like the biggest like math person.
Mm-hmm.
And software feels like this weird sort of mix of creativity and math that I like really like.
Interesting. Okay.
At least for me, I don't know if I'm.
I have heard that math is part of it, like a good level of, you don't have to understand advanced mathematics, past like high school degree, but like there is math involved.
Oh,
right?
absolutely, yeah. Especially in games too, right? Like I'm not underplaying. Like there's a lot of math, but it's not like pure theory, right?
Okay.
Like you're not sitting around trying to like, I don't know. I imagine it's not like getting a math degree and then trying to discover some new equation or something like that, or new theorem or whatever. Like it's very applied mathematics.
Okay.
And I think it even is different a little bit than like, well, it's probably analogous to like if you're doing like other types of like hardware engineering or like mechanical engineering, stuff like that, right? Like fields where you need math, but math is sort of the underpinning of like, then there's a creative side that you apply it, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, I imagine with programming for video games, you're thinking more in the physics. So like we'll take a first-person shooter. It's going to shoot a bullet. It's going to travel this far. The enemy is so many yards away. It's going to have a downward trigonometry to it. It's going to have a range and a field and a scope that it's going to work on. And you have to factor that in to say, okay, this bullet is going to have this mathematics attached to it as it's going within this sphere of the game.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot of linear algebra.
Yeah, okay.
Is like the number one mathematics field that we use. And it's all cheating. It's the best part. Like it's all like how can we best approximate this?
Sure.
Like, I'm pretty sure my brain has been corrupted to not even know any real physics at this point, because I
Oh,
just
that's fun.
think in terms of the cheat hacks that we use, because they perform well.
Sure,
It, it looks about right, and that's all you need.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, and I love that. It's the tools of the trade that you just say, okay, this is gonna fit the piece, and it doesn't have to be too perfect. So that's cool. I love that. So, what are some of your favorite games?
I am a big fan. I play a lot of like first person, third person, sort of like action adventure games, and then
Okay.
also like strategy games. Kind
Okay.
of two genres I play a lot of. So I'm a big fan of like The Last of Us,
Last of Us, okay. It's a
Um,
popular one now.
Age of Empires.
Yeah, it's
just
great.
growing up. Metroid Prime.
Nice.
A lot of Mario Kart actually.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But yeah, I've been playing some Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
The new one.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've been thinking I should get into it. It's seeming pretty popular.
Pretty great.
Nice. Oh, that's great to hear. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think. The last one I played was like Wind Waker, and that's the last one I played. I played like the original Zelda with like the gold cartridge on NES. It was like
Oh,
I had
yeah.
that as a kid.
Yeah.
And that one I got into, but I was too young to like really figure it out, so I didn't do great. But I never played like the Super Nintendo, Link to the Past ones, and then Wind Waker, GameCube. I played that one, and that was fun. But then I never got into like the other ones, like what was like Shadow Princess or something like that. I don't remember. They had some pretty cool looking ones for sure. I just never tried them.
Yeah. Link to the Past I love. I went back and played that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, what was it was Wind Waker on GameCube, and then the Wii one was oh gosh.
Twilight Princess?
Twilight Princess.
That's the one, yeah,
Yep.
Twilight Princess. Yeah, and that one looked amazing. I was just never jumped into it.
Yeah. There's a lot of jokes about how slow the intro of that game is.
Oh no. Okay, yeah.
There's a whole fishing section where they
Uh-huh.
it's like a 20-minute fishing tutorial.
Oh, that's funny. See, and I love fishing in video games. Not so much in real life, but I love it in video games.
Have you played Red Dead Redemption?
I haven't.
That's got some realistic fishing.
Really? The new one
Well,
or the second one?
Both of them. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to get into Red Dead. All right. That's fun. I hear it's a big, lengthy RPG of a game.
It's huge.
So that's great. I've been looking for a new time suck. I got into Hollow Knight. You ever heard of that one?
Oh yeah, Hollow Knight's great.
Yeah, it's an amazing game. I've done everything you can do except for like the final Pantheon challenge with no charms. So like
Wow.
it's so hard. It's so
Yeah.
and I've sunk so much time into it, like hundreds of hours, but I'm like I think I got to do something else. I don't know if I'm going to beat it. So I'm like, okay, I think I'm not going to.
Oh, you're so close.
Yeah, see, but that's the thing. It's like I am so close, but I know I don't know. It's just it's really going to take, because it's going to take several hours of just playing it over and over and over in a single day to do it.
Yeah.
Because I play it at night when I'm done doing this, done work and do whatever, and I'm like tired. So it's you just have to be alert. Like there's just not enough coffee in the world for me. Maybe we'll see. Who knows? But it's fun. And then I grew up like Street Fighter, so love that. Right?
Nice.
Yeah. So that's a game that I loved as a kid, and I love it now. And then like Final Fantasy, I love RPGs. And then Fallout is like,
Oh, I love Fallout.
yes, it's absolutely one of my favorite games.
The originals and the new 3D ones.
All of them. All of
Okay.
them. Yeah, I loved the first two. Even Tactics I liked. And then the new 3D ones I love too. I'm a huge fan.
New Vegas?
Yeah, I love New Vegas.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
New Vegas is my favorite.
Yeah, it's the best one. It's the best one. I still just throw it on and play it. Like I go straight for like the NCR Veteran Ranger or the Elite Riot Gear.
Yeah.
And I play crouching so much so that I forgot the game was in color one time. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. There's all this stuff. Yeah, that's just all I do. I'm all about stealth murder, which is why I like the Assassin's Creed games.
Oh, yeah. Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed's cool. I played a lot of those for a while.
Yeah, the first two. I really loved the first two.
Yeah, there's the new one that's coming out
Mhm.
that's supposed to be Return to Form or whatever, because they kind of strayed off onto the RPG track.
Yeah, the open world. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But the new one, it's back to it's gonna be in Baghdad, I think.
Okay.
I forget what era.
Interesting.
But yeah, they're kind of it's supposed to be, going back to the Middle East, kind of back to like the vibe of the first one, I think.
Sure. Okay. I'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. I'm willing to try it out. Again, I need something to play. I might just go to the Red Dead Redemption and see. If it's on Xbox Game Pass, I'm for sure going to get it.
I don't know if it is.
It's probably too
Yeah,
big
because
of
it's
a game.
Rockstar, so they're.
Oh, they don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You were talking Epic. My kid loves Fortnite. She's 9, and
Oh, yeah?
every weekend she just jumps on it. She's like, "Let's play this over and over and over." And it's
Yeah.
fun. It's cool. I like it. It's really a lot of fun. But she's way into it.
That's all the kids these days are so into Fortnite. It's kind of baffling to me, honestly. But it's cool.
It's a great time. It is a great time. It's just a shooter, so that's what makes sense. And I think it's what's the other one, like PUBG, and then
Yeah, PUBG's the more adult one.
yeah, right. But that's what they like. They like the last man standing type of stuff.
Yep.
Where you just go, you're random, everything's randomized. You just see what happens and
Yeah.
play. And I think it can be fun.
Minecraft at all?
Oh yeah, my kid loves it.
Yeah.
She loves it. Yeah. We had to go into the netherworld, so we had to figure out how to do all that. Ton of googling. That was a lot of fun. And then she does the creative modes where she's just like, I'm just gonna build something ridiculous. Like, all right, cool. And I'll do that with her, so that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I think they got rid of the single console mode, and you can't do people on one console anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or maybe it's not. Maybe that's one of the last
Huh.
one. But yeah, like because we used to play
Surprising.
Fortnite that way.
Yeah.
But like it's either that or you have to do cross console gameplay. So she has a little Nintendo Switch, and she loves that, and she plays on that, and then I'll play on something else. But that's like for only games that do cross console. So like Fortnite is one that'll do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, Minecraft is pretty cool. I see they keep updating it, so like I'm sure I'm missing out on a lot of the cool stuff. When they added axolotls, that's when she's like, we have to play this game.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, all right, fine.
That's it's funny. I respect Minecraft I think that's a great game. It's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite, I respect like what they've done with it,
Yeah.
but it's still like it came from being just a rip-off. It was Epic kind of throwing something at the wall to see what would stick.
Oh, wow.
And it's just so interesting that the way it has blown up, and then what's impressive is the way it's had legs.
Yeah.
But I know some people that went to work on that game, and it's apparently nuts there, like the kind of stuff that they're figuring out. And
Really?
yeah, like in terms of, so I know someone that was went to be like a producer on the game.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about like just the kind of like people they're in conversations with. Like it's like day to day, they'll be like talking to like huge musicians about like pulling them in to do like digital concerts and all
for
kinds
sure.
of crazy stuff. And
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
showed
wow,
my kid those, and we got to go to one. She loved it. Yeah.
It's like become like a real platform
Yeah.
for stuff. So
Oh, for sure it is. Yeah. The digital concerts, the digital shows are so fun because they're playable. You can jump in. I'm just like, this is such a cool thing.
yeah,
And you get introduced to a ton of great music. So I love it. Yeah. That's cool. So I'm guessing there's going to be some fun ones coming down the line. I imagine summer is going to be something they're going to want to do for summer.
yeah. This was a year or so ago.
Sure.
But yeah,
Cool.
I mean, they've always got stuff cooking.
That makes sense. So as a developer, do you get to kind of contribute to the overall idea if you're on a video game? Do you get to be like, hey, this would be a feature you could do or something you could try, or do you just kind of stick to what they laid out for you?
Yeah, so that's it's definitely very collaborative. Depends on a little bit on what I'm doing, right? So if I'm doing some like kind of like gameplay code or stuff like that, I'm working closely with like a designer. So like the field, the kind of the different disciplines within like a studio, it's usually you've got engineering, art, right? They're doing all of the 3D art and sort of concepting and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then you've got designers, and that's usually like more pure design, like what are the mechanics of the game, how does it work, what are all the numbers, like for like balancing numbers, balancing gameplay mechanics. And then usually like if you're gonna have like story stuff in there too, like writers kind of fall under that department because they have to work together.
Yeah.
And then you'll have like a production team usually that's kind of managing the overall like scheduling of the project, and then like QA, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are like all the departments, and so I usually work pretty closely with designers.
Okay.
And then so like at the end of the day, they're the owners of the project, right? Like they get to make the final decision, but like I could definitely give them feedback, and like, you know, if they give me a feature design, I'm like, oh, well, you know, I know we could do this thing too from like an engineering perspective. Like,
sure.
I definitely have input there.
That's pretty cool.
And then there's a lot of stuff just like sort of being part of that team. Like we'll do play tests and the sort of leads will like actually solicit feedback just from like the whole team, right? Because they want to get a lot of different perspectives.
Sure.
Like the thing I'm on right now, it's actually like not a genre I play a lot of, but they actually find that perspective valuable, right? Because they want to know like what's missing for people that don't play it.
Sure, right. Ideally, they want to add new people, get people that wouldn't normally do it to go into it.
Yeah.
That's cool. Man, I'm so curious about what it is. Anyways, I'm sure I'll hear it eventually. So, do you have to go like on premise for this type of work, or do you get to work remote?
So I can work remote. I was fully in person to start, and then I kind of switched to like mixed hybrid remote. And I still go into the office just because I'm in the city and I can go in and that kind of thing.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's kind of the deal there.
Gotcha.
Are you excited for Street Fighter 6? I take it.
You know, when they went chunky, I was kind of like, all right, maybe it's okay. Like the Street Fighter 4 when that came out,
Yeah.
I was like, it's okay. They tried to make it classic 2D fighting style at least, but it just doesn't feel as fluid as like I was really into like the PlayStation Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Turbo versions, and those seemed a lot speedier, which I really liked about them. So the newer ones just feel kind of chunky and clunky. So I haven't gotten into them as much. But I am looking forward to it. I'm gonna get it anyways. I'm gonna play it a bunch anyways. So I'm excited. I'm just like, it's one of those where it's just like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna love it anyway. So yeah.
Is there another fighting game that you're like a huge fan of right now?
Ooh, of a fighting game, I'm trying to think. Not really. Yeah, I never got into like Mortal Kombat. I never got into any of those. Never got into any of the like Fists of Fury or what was it called? No, not Fists of Fury. But anyways, like even at like arcades, like I would just sit there and just dump quarters into Simpsons and Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then some Ninja Turtles every now and then. Those are the games I'd stick to.
Yeah. I know my friends that are into the fighting game scene. They're all super into this game called Guilty Gear.
Oh,
now.
Guilty Gear, yeah.
Strive.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's really cool. They did like it's all 3D art, but they did this kind of like 2D, almost painterly like type shader on top of it that just makes it look like 2D.
Interesting.
It's a gorgeous game. Like the art style is amazing. And it feels pretty good, and it's got really I actually haven't played it online at all. I just usually play it local with like friends, but supposedly it's got like amazing netcode. Like the multiplayer experience is like really good.
Really?
So,
oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, another one I get thrown at me a lot is Soul Calibur. My last name's Cervantes, so like there's that character with the Spanish guy with the size or whatever. We're the same name. So people go, oh, you know from that guy. You know, it's like, all right. But yeah, that's another one that looked cool. I just, same thing. Never got into Tekken. I know that's like the platform version of the 3D fighting games.
Tekken is nuts.
Yeah, right.
Tekken is every character has like 600 moves or something insane like that. It's like so crazy.
Yeah, they're super fun. And then what was the other one, my buddy? I'm trying to remember what it was. These were like, I'm just thinking back to my 20s, when I had like roommates and stuff. And there was one game where they also made like a beach volleyball spin-off, but it was like it was a fighting game where you like grabs and throws.
Dead or Alive.
Dead or Alive, you got it. Yep, I knew you'd know. Dead or Alive, that's the one. Yeah, and so that was an okay fighting game, but like the same thing. It was just I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't master the timing of it. And then if you play with somebody who hasn't figured out, you're just like, you're never gonna win. It's no point.
Yeah. Yeah, I was always into shooters for when I did like more competitive type multiplayer stuff. I mean, I never actually played competitive video
Sure.
games, but like with the games that I tried to get good at were usually, I definitely went through a Call of Duty phase and a Halo.
Yeah.
Halo were like my big two.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Halo's an awesome game. I loved Halo.
Yeah.
And my friend from high school actually went to, what is it, 33, Studio 33 or whatever.
343, yeah.
343, and he went there, he worked for them, and wrote on Halo 3.
Oh, very cool.
And then a couple other ones after. And I think he wrote some for Halo Legends too, so which is pretty cool, the newest one or whatever it is.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, he's pretty cool. He bounced back and forth between them and a couple other studios.
Oh, that's very cool. So
yeah.
you're just doing writing stuff?
Yep, just doing,
Cool.
coming up with the stories, coming up with the ideas. So it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
they're in Seattle, I think.
Yep, that's where he's
Yeah.
at. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What else is over there? Sucker Punch, maybe? Is there a Sony studio?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Not
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't know that's what it was called.
Oh, I'm thinking of like other places in Seattle that
Oh.
you're saying he's bouncing around.
Right,
Not
yeah.
sure.
That one, and then he went to like a really indie video game studio for a while that
Okay.
I think he was part owner of too.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah, I have to see. I wonder what he's doing. But yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Obviously, it's like it's an industry, which is really cool, but like I just love the storytelling aspect of it.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that I find so phenomenal that you can really do, especially like obviously with RPGs like the Fallouts, Elder Scrolls, all that stuff. They're telling these long stories, and every character has these little niche that you can follow along, and they're going to have you do a side quest, and that side quest is a story essentially.
Yeah.
And I think that's really fascinating.
Yeah. Inhabiting a world like that. It's
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. I was. It was Elder Scrolls 4 for me. It was around like the right time. That's the one that I remember, which I know a lot of people kind of don't like that one.
Was that one Oblivion, right?
Oblivion.
Yeah, Oblivion,
but
yeah.
it was when I was younger, so it was
Sure.
just it hit at the right time for me. That was the one I got super into.
Nice, yeah. No, it was a great game. It
Yeah.
had all the same mechanics. It was great. For the same reasons the other two were good. Well, 5, but the other ones are good. That one's good as well. Yeah. I lost, I want to say, a solid month of my life. Like, if I were to factor in all the hours I played, 24 hours in a day, 30, a solid just a month just into Morrowind. Like, that game just ate my life up.
Morrowind is a classic.
Yeah, and that was right in my early 20s. I just started living on my own.
Yeah.
And I remember just like playing that game and then blinking one day, and it was like my alarm going off being like, you need to go to work. I was like, oh no. Like
Yeah.
the full next day I was like, wow, this is but it was fun, so at least that was good. Have you tried what's the new one, Skyrim? Have you played that one a bunch? Yeah.
Skyrim's good.
Yeah, it's unbelievable looking. I keep getting all the ports and new versions. It's so fun.
Play on everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Play it on your smart fridge.
Yeah, you can. I think somebody said the Pit Boy will play it in Fallout 4. You can also play Skyrim on it, so why not?
It's like Doom. You put it everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
There's Bethesda has Starfield coming out.
Yes, I
at the end of
cannot
this
wait.
year.
I
Yeah,
can't
excited
wait.
for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
space is like, I'm so fascinated. I'm like super nerdy about space. So they're gonna make a game. I played Outer Worlds when that one came out too.
Outer Worlds was so good.
So good, so fun. I
Yeah.
just love the idea of like, what will corporations do? Of course they're gonna buy up swaths of. That's exactly how it's gonna work, and
Yeah.
of course they're gonna run it in a terrible way. That's exactly what's gonna happen. So yeah, I loved it. I can't wait for Starfield. I'm like. I'm trying to not learn anything about it. Like I've seen like 2 commercials for it or whatever that's come out, and I'm just like, no info. I don't want to know. I just want to be shocked and surprised and amazed and not have any opinion on it when I see it. I know it looks really cool, the graphics look awesome, and it's a cool idea, so I'm just like, okay, we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Starfield is what I'm excited for it. I'm slightly concerned that they're going to try and push the construction thing from Fallout 4
The builds.
into it. Yeah,
Sure.
which were cool, but I was like, I don't want this in my Fallout,
Okay.
Because that was at least my take on it.
Sure.
I kind of ignored it, but that's the thing, you could just ignore it.
Yeah,
but
you
that's
can.
what I watched a brief bit of stuff, and it's in this game.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. We'll see, but
Sure.
yeah, it's my only. Otherwise, I think it'll be a slam dunk.
I get that. Did you ever play like 76 also, or just?
No,
Okay.
I stayed away from that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just started getting into it because people like, it's the same thing. There's purists that are like, it's terrible, don't touch it.
Yeah.
But they fixed a lot of the bugs. They put a lot of the stuff out, and I'm like, oh, this is a perfectly serviceable game to play solo, where you're just gonna have other kids from all over the place just randomly being involved too. So I'm interested in it, but it is that same thing. You build a base, you're doing a lot of stuff, you're having to have crafting stations and all that, just like Fallout 4. Which I did like you. When I first played through, I was like, I'm not going to bother with this. I don't care that much. I started doing the first one, Sanctuary, and I was like, this is the most boring thing ever. I hate this. I'm done. But then I just kind of like, eventually I was like, all right, I'll just dump the basics into it and then not care about the happiness level. But like, the thing I cared about was the resources, because I'm like a super hoarder on those games.
Yeah.
I'll steal from everybody. If it's not bolted down, I'm going to take it. So I needed to do something with it, and so I built up the bases to where they would all share with each other. And I was like, okay, cool, that's all I care about. And that was it. But yeah, it's fun enough. So we'll see if they do it in space. I'm sure they're going to, and I'm probably going to lose a week or two to doing that, just because I'm a completionist. That's how I play those games. Like with Fallout, I'm a min-maxer. Like if I can do everything, I'm gonna do everything you can do. I'll play evil even though I feel bad about it. I'll do it once, just to get all the experience of doing it. But yeah, my friends always say, because I'm a bit of a hard ass in real life. So they say you're nice in video games. That's how you know they're fake. Because in video games, I feel bad. I won't do anything mean to anybody. But they're like, that's not you in real life.
Yeah, that's funny. I feel like you ever play Mass Effect?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's your chance to be evil.
Yeah, you're right. Because it gives you those basic decisions, and it lets you know it colors them in red. This is the bad one.
Exactly.
That's the mean thing to do.
Be like, all right,
I guess I'll do that if I want
jerk.
to. Yeah, but you know what's funny? Actually, Mass Effect, I never replayed, so I played once, and I just played it the nicest you could go through.
Yeah.
And it just gave me the achievements of like, what was it? I remember like Valorian or some something. It give you some fancy title of like you did everything nice you could possibly do. Good job. So I guess here you go. So I was like, all right, yeah. Fable was another one my buddy wrote for also. Yeah, so yeah, that was one too.
Oh, cool. Wrote for that too?
Yeah, Fable 3, which I was like, I should ask him for a refund actually, now that I think about it. Like,
You didn't like it?
You owe me money. I was not a fan of that one. 1 and 2 I loved, but 3 I was not a fan of.
3 is the weird one where you're like a king or whatever, right?
Yeah, and you have like gloves for your powers.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. It wasn't a great mechanic. I didn't like it as much as the other ones. And then the story, like by the end of the whole story of it, I was just like, I could have done without all of this. Like this was, yeah. But the first 2 were amazing. I mean, I still replay them. They're still phenomenal. They had that same thing in 2 where you could like fix up your house if you wanted to put a bunch of cool furniture in it and pay to invest in it and then flip it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really good at making money in that game, but not so much in real life, but for sure in that game. All right, if you were trapped in a video game, it was real life, you're stuck in it, this is what you're living, what's the game you would live?
Oh, like that I would, okay, it has to be real?
Yeah, you're it, this is it.
Goodness. Animal Crossing? I don't know. No, that's like being stuck in hell.
Oh, yeah, you're just stuck on an island doing stuff for other people.
Yeah, you're stuck in debt to Tom Nook.
Yeah,
that's actually a terrible one. Never mind.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh gosh. I don't know. I feel like they're all like kind of crappy worlds to be stuck in.
That's part of the game. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's like I'm like I don't want to be stuck in an apocalypse or some like dystopian world.
Yeah.
Or, being like stuck back in history at some point. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Doesn't sound great. No, you're right. Yeah, and then you're right. Most of the games that tell you the future, they're like, the future's awful. Turns out we messed everything up.
Yeah,
It's
of
really
course. Well,
bad.
of course we do.
Yeah.
Of course we do.
Yeah.
Do you have one that you would want to be in?
I'm racking my brain thinking about it while you're coming up with an answer, because like I'm just trying to think. I think I like the way you answered it, because you said Animal Crossing because you're like, what's the chillest experience I could have? What's the chillest thing, right? Stardew Valley, but you gotta like farm all day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's not that chill. And then I think, okay, Halo, right? Because Master Chief is like a super elite military guy.
Do you get to be Master Chief, or
I
are you
mean,
just some
you're
guy
right.
and the Covenant are like wiping out humanity?
You're right. Yeah, you're just like one of the first soldiers that dies, which is how that would play out. You're right. Yeah, I guess it would be the main character of that game. You would be the main character.
Master Chief is pretty lucky, I
Right?
guess.
Constantly lucky. Seems to everything he fights, he beats it. So that's just canon. Even if he gets maybe chipped away a little, gets beat up a little bit, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Right. Or maybe like the guys from the Assassin's Creed that you actually play as, because you know the game takes place in the future, so it worked out. It's fine. They didn't die. It ended up being okay.
It's true, although he does get kidnapped, I think, right? Are you talking about the guy, the because there's the story around the story in those games. There's
Yes.
the future story and then the past story.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would say the game is you are the past characters
Okay.
more than the current. But even then, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Renaissance Italy. It would be cool to go back. It's also pretty gross. Like, it's fun to look at, the history there and stuff. But
Sure.
I do think we've got some things figured out today that are pretty nice to have.
Absolutely.
We're like
living in
modern plumbing.
Yeah, exactly. No, we're living in the best time to be alive. It really 100% is. There's no question about that. Yeah, there's no question about that. It could be, and that's actually a question I ask people. Like, if you could travel back in time to any period invisibly, what's something you would want to see from the past? Right.
Honestly, I'm super curious how they made the Nazca lines, but
Ooh, nice. Totally.
I'm fascinated by those things.
For sure. No, I think, I would love to see that. I'd love to see just all of South America before the conquistadors showed up.
Right?
Like, what did it look
Yeah.
like? What was the prehistory to
Be
that?
cool.
Yeah, I'm so fascinated by that time as well.
That's, have you ever heard of Crusader Kings? Or actually, not Crusader Kings. Europa Universalis.
No. What is that?
Some super niche strategy games that I'm into.
Okay.
But one of them is kind of a history simulator, and you can do a thing in that game where you can kind of flip the script on like world history and say like, what if like the Mayans or the Aztecs actually became super technologically sophisticated, and they invade Europe rather than the other way around.
Oh.
And it's a fun like what if scenario to play out. You know,
Yeah.
huh?
That is super cool.
Like things really could have changed.
Right. Yeah, that would be interesting. What if the Mayans had done? Because they had, at a certain point in time, they had millions of people there.
Yeah.
So it really could have done it. It really absolutely could have been that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They pretty serious centers of civilization over here. It's just the way that the chips fell with the industrialization and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so who knows what it would have been. That's interesting. So what's the name of that game again?
Europa Universalis.
Europa
4.
Universalis.
It's the most recent one. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, then I'm definitely going to check that one out. That
They're
sounds awesome.
yeah. I don't know if I would actually recommend playing it, but if you take a look and see what you think. They're
Okay.
pretty hardcore strategy games. So
Sure,
They get
okay.
pretty niche. Like there's that company. One company makes them all. They make another one that's basically like a World War II simulator. It's called Hearts of Iron.
Mhm.
And just to give you an idea of like the detail, you end up managing like your supply lines. Like you're managing like food trains going to the front to like deliver food for your troops.
Okay.
And like you've got to manage like oil supplies for your tanks, and like, so it's not a joke. It's like
Okay.
it's pretty nitty gritty in the details.
Oh, that's fun.
But you know,
Okay.
if you're into that kind of thing,
That's interesting. Yeah, because it's like that level of like the conductor wants a raise. You're not paying his health insurance. So you should really, you're gonna have to do that. His family wants to talk to you.
yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, cool. That's really interesting. I'll have to check that out. So with the Aztec, the lines, right? Do
Yeah.
you think aliens were involved in? No.
I think it's fun to think about it. I don't think so with that one. I think we actually have pretty good evidence that they were able to figure out that they were basically higher sophistication than we can give credit for, right? Like the same thing
Yeah.
with pyramids.
Yeah.
When you actually like look back at like the level of geometrical knowledge that ancient Egyptians had,
Mm-hmm.
like it's honestly kind of insulting to them to say that they couldn't have done it without help.
Absolutely.
Like they actually were intelligent enough to figure that out, and they executed on that.
Yeah.
But I think it's still a really cool sort of mystery of like the exact details of that, right? It's a massive project to undertake.
Yeah.
Like, just the amount of stone you have to collect, and then to map that out, figure all of that out, and then to execute on it, and then kind of like why, I guess. you
Yeah.
know? I think we know better why with the Egyptians, but the lines, we have a vague understanding, sort of like the symbology of that, but the details are lost.
Right, exactly. All that history was wiped out. We'll really, unfortunately, won't know. But yeah, I very much agree with you. I think those civilizations, especially the Mayan and South Americans, had a lot of advanced knowledge that was just buried, truly buried, that we don't have, that we don't understand, and that we just missed out, or that was destroyed by conquistadors. So it was like,
Yeah.
but in reality, these were highly advanced civilizations that really had a lot to offer, and a lot that we just lost. A lot of information that was lost, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So do you think aliens have ever visited humans before?
I mean, the recent stuff coming out is like kind of wild. I don't know how much I buy any of that either.
Sure.
I don't know. I kind of start with like I do think other life exists somewhere in the universe.
Definitely.
Right? Like it's too big.
Definitely.
But I do like the Fermi paradox or whatever is interesting, right? Like if there is life out there, like why haven't we seen it yet?
Right. No,
I
you're
don't
the
know.
first person that I was going to bring that up to you, so I love that you already know about it. Yeah, because that's really it. It's like, because it's such a large universe, of course stuff is out there, but because it's so large, the habitable windows, they might have just missed it. Like, that's all.
Yeah.
There's just,
Like maybe the span of time and then also space that you're talking about, like I guess it's possible that we're just in a space and time that is so isolated from other life that we will never ever even know.
Right.
That's also conceivable.
For sure. Yeah. We really have, like, what, a couple of billion habitable years on planet Earth. So, we have to not destroy ourselves, and if we do, it starts over again. So who knows if we'll get there. Yeah. So it's tricky for sure.
Or they have visited us, or they know about us, and they're just waiting for us. What's that? There's the Great Filter theory or whatever, right? They're just waiting for us to pass the Great Filter,
Right.
Which is like, can we get past a scarcity era into a post-scarcity world where sort of like a Star Trek utopia, and then they'll all reveal themselves to us because we haven't blown ourselves up or whatever.
Right, you can provide for everybody. You're not weird and racist. You're not all these
exactly.
horrible ideas. So, yeah, that's very possible.
There's my answer for I think for what game world I'd live in. I'll just go live in the Star Trek MMO because it's the Star Trek universe. That's not a bad one.
You're right. Yeah, that's the best we could do as humanity, I think.
There's a little bit of strife, but it's overall, I think it's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's the closest thing to good for everybody that it could be. Though, my buddy brought up, he's like, yeah, but like, there's a ton of in Star Trek where they're like, where farmers are uprising constantly because they're like kind of, so there is some exploitation under the guise that we just aren't so aware of. But See that? Yeah, that's the frontier planets. That's kind of what that Outer Worlds, what that was talking about, where
Yeah.
it's like there's gonna and this is a thing that I was gonna say of like in order to get to that Star Trek reality, we have to go through the Outer Worlds reality.
Yeah.
We just have to.
Because it's going to be a backlash and a revolt against that. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the only way to do it. And then the other thing of like we don't know what plants of ours live in space. We don't know what plants of ours are going to be able to go up there and survive and reproduce into something that we can eat. We have no idea. We're going to have to do trial and error until we figure it out, and then dump a bunch of resources into that, and then see whatever that is. And that might just be like, there's food out there that just turns you orange. You don't know, like it just happens. So who knows what it'll actually be in space. And then maybe we'll discover some sludge that we can use as well, but who knows. It's a whole thing we're gonna have to go through, but we'll figure it out.
That's what I love thinking about sometimes, like how did someone figure out that you can eat an artichoke, right? Like
Yes.
somebody had to just kind of wing it.
All right, so I'm a stand-up comedian, and
cool.
a thing I'm working on is exactly that. It's a long comedic arc called "You Are Here." You know how like on a map where they say "You Are Here,"
yeah.
But humanity is a species, right? You are here. We're at the 10,000 years of civilization recorded history, but we've been around for about 2 million, right? So like, how did we get to here? What's the stuff we had to go through? And one of the ones that I talked is about bread. How did we get bread? So bread started from like a flower, right? A piece of a plant that you could eat. That was the edible part. You would take that with you. You would go around, and you would have it in your pocket, so that maybe after it was dried out, you preserved it, you dried it out, it would get grinded up by stuff that you would have in pockets, so it turned into a flour. Then that flour got wet because obviously clothes wasn't waterproof, so it would get wet. It would turn into this dough. But here's the funny thing, okay? Yeast.
Right, yeah, yeast
is a living bacteria that is found on the armpits and penises of men. How did it get into the dough? That's why bread is a loaf shape.
Yeah. Never thought about that.
So that's essentially what I like as far as comedy. I like to be like, how we got here as humans, because we succeeded by overwhelming failure.
Yeah.
We failed until failure said, I'm done, I can't do it anymore. You found a way, you continue. That's it. That's been our key to success through all of human existence. So like mushrooms, right? Which ones did we find? How many times did we die before we figured out which ones you can eat and which ones you are fun and which ones you shouldn't touch at all? And those were a whole list of trial and error that people had to go through. And there's just a ton of stuff like that, I think. And it's like even just being able to walk. How many times did you have to fall before you could walk as a person?
Yeah.
And that stuff, I think, is comedically hilarious, but also says something about us as humans, as a species, is the trial and error. The fact is that whole Outer Worlds thing, we're going to go through it, but we are going to go through it. That's just, if we get there, that's something we're going to do, because that's just who we are as a species.
Yeah. No, I really like that. I think that sounds like a good line of jokes to go down.
Yeah.
Because it's really right. Like, it hits like, oh, I never really thought about that. But like, yeah, and there's like some shock value there, but also some introspection.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I just have to find the right ones. And there's a ton: religion, philosophy, food. Yeah. There's just so much plumbing. Like,
Yeah.
How do we figure out what size pipe you really needed to flush that down, and then how did you get there? Like before then, Yeah. There was a lot of things that we learned not to flush, and you only learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
Terminal 5. What airline are you?
Delta.
Delta. All right.
How long have you been in Chicago for?
2018, so 5 years now.
You like it?
No, I as soon as my daughter is 18, I'm back in California.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm only here. Her mom and I split up. She came here with my daughter, so I came too.
Gotcha.
Because I can do this and I can do my job from home, so I might as well be in Chicago.
Gotcha.
10 more years and then I'm done. Marking my time on the wall like a prison sentence.
Yeah, I actually took to Boston. I like it there, and I met a lot of people in college, so I didn't mind sticking around for a bit. But I definitely kind of, it's not the place I see myself staying forever.
Sure.
So, and I figure someday I'll be back on the West Coast.
There you go. Yeah, it'll happen eventually. And again, with your career, the work you do, you'll be able to write your paycheck eventually and just take it with you.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But,
yeah, and there's studios all over. It's the nice thing, and I'm hoping stuff keeps going remote and continues to go remote. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Plus, yeah. What is it in Southern California? They've got Bungie. They've got
Bungie's up in Seattle, but
Blizzard.
Southern,
That was
Blizzard, Riot,
yeah,
and
Riot. Yeah.
a couple Sony studios are down there too. Yeah.
So there's a ton of gig work out there, and then obviously there's like if you want to be in the Bay Area, there's a bunch of stuff, Lucas Studios and all that stuff. So
yeah, and Pacific Northwest I wouldn't say no to either. So there's definitely stuff in Seattle.
Nice. See, there you go.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Boston overall then?
6 years now.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good amount of time. Yeah, I know it's definitely good people out there. Like I said, it's a lot of high tech and high science minded individuals, which is really cool.
Yeah, a lot of young. It's a great like college town. I'm. That's where like I'm so happy that like I went to school out there, and then sticking around kind of just feels like an extension of college with people sticking around. But
Sure.
That's where like I don't know if I want to stay out there super long term and end up shoveling snow.
See, the first time I saw snow my entire life was when I moved here the first time, and I was like, I don't know why anybody does this. Why'd they build a city here? They didn't have to. Nobody forced them to make a city here, but it happened.
Whereabouts in California are you from?
I grew up in the North Bay, so like wine country, and then I lived in LA for my 20s.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where in LA?
So I had actors as roommates, so I lived everywhere because every time they couldn't pay rent, we had to move.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I lived everywhere, which was great.
That sounds like a classic story.
Yeah. I've got a ton of them. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, roommates. You're just like, hey, you can't pay the rent? No. All right, well then we gotta go. So
a lot of actors in their 20s.
Yeah. Which was great. It was a ton of fun.
It was a great time. Yeah.
At one point in time, I had like 8 roommates in a house, so that was cool. They were all like stunt performers and actors and fire performers. So it was just a party, even if you're just hanging out on a Tuesday.
Nice. Yeah. Stunts are cool. Yeah. If you want me, I can hop out wherever if you want to.
Your Delta's up there. It's up to you.
Out here. I'm totally fine if you think you can get out easier.
Sure, either way works. Yeah, if you want. Yeah. It was
right.
great chatting, man.
Yeah,
Have a great
awesome
flight.
Chatting.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Have a good one.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks.